it is not a safe blind buy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Titi, aka Slay Coco Bakes, whichever one you prefer. Today I'm going to be reviewing Kayali's Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper 25 for you guys. So if you would like to hear my thoughts on this fragrance, because there are a lot, please do keep on watching. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe and also hit the notification bell so you get notified every single time I upload a new video. That being said, let's jump right into the review. Okay, Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper 25 was launched in 2021, and the perfumer behind this fragrance is Gabriella Kelaru. All Kayali fragrances usually have a number behind them, and it just indicates how many formula modifications they had to make till it was formulated to perfection. In this case, this was modified or formulated 25 different times, or maybe more than that, but they went with the 25th modification. This fragrance is an eau de parfum intense, as it does say here. Kayali fragrances really come in two intensities, eau de parfum and eau de parfum intense. So this is the intense, which is the stronger line, and this is a little more expensive than the regular eau de parfum, which Vanilla 28 comes in. The Kayali packaging is just always so cute, and it usually has a color on here on the sides, like how the fragrance inside looks like. And they usually put their fragrance notes, or at least not all the fragrance notes, but they list the major fragrance notes on the back, so that is also a plus. And it just opens up like this, and this is how the fragrance looks. It fits a bit snug, so you have to wiggle it out a bit, but this is what it looks like. It comes in this metallic opaque packaging, although if you do shine a light through your bottle, you can kind of see where you're at, so it's not completely opaque. And you can see how beautiful this bottle looks like. Just look at it, it's so beautiful. If not for anything, one of the reasons why I have this fragrance in my collection is because it's pink. Coincidentally, I'm matching my makeup today, or rather I decided to review the fragrance today because I was like, yeah, my makeup is pink, why don't I just film this today? The Kayali fragrances come in 3 standard sizes: 100 ml, 50 ml, and a 10 ml travel size. They also have a discovery set which houses, I think, about 8 of their fragrances. That's a good way to start and test them out, so you don't have to blind buy them. I have this bottle in the 100 ml. This was a blind buy, but thankfully it was a successful blind buy. Kayali fragrances are designed to be layered, so each and every one of them, you can always create a unique scent by mixing and matching it with other fragrances, be it the Kayali fragrances, be it other fragrances that you have from other fragrance houses in your collection. So they work fantastic. When you layer them, it just enhances them and makes them more long lasting. So the main accords, according to Fragrantica, of this fragrance are rose, warm spicy, soft spicy, floral, woody, musky, powdery, sweet, amber, metallic. And the notes of this fragrance are, so in the top notes we have pink pepper, saffron, royal lily, and bergamot. For the mid notes we have Bulgarian rose, May rose, vanilla orchid, and magnolia. And in the base we have amber, sandalwood, patchouli, and musk. So of course the atomizers on the Kayali perfumes are the best. This perfume is actually my scent of the day. I've had it on for roughly over 10 hours and I can't really smell it, but I'll get to that in a bit. So what I majorly get from this fragrance is the pink pepper, the vanilla, and the rose. Those 3 notes are what shine through the most to me in the fragrance, and also the saffron. This has a very, very prominent vanilla note. On me, this starts off very spicy and then dries down to this syrupy sweetness. This is sweet and spicy at the same time. It's like best of both worlds. It's 50-50, sweet, spicy, which is kind of hard to explain. Normally when fragrances state that they're spicy, I don't usually really get any spice, but this is one that I would say it's true to what it claims to be. It's a warm, spicy, sweet, dense, syrupy fragrance. in my opinion. Okay, this perfume reminds me a lot of the Givenchy L'Interdit Rouge, the one in the red bottle, not because they're similar in the sense of the actual scent, but just because of that sweet and spicy nature that they both share. They have a very spicy but at the same time syrupy sweet finish. On my skin, this starts out really spicy from the pink pepper, which is like the major note in this fragrance, as you can hear from the name of the fragrance. And then in my own words, I'll say it dries down on my skin to this syrupy sugared vanilla rose, if that's a thing, like if that would give you like a better imagination of what it smells like. So in the dry down, the vanilla really comes through and it really shines. The vanilla in this fragrance has the vanilla 28 DNA. It reminds me a lot, but I get it only in the absolute dry down of this fragrance. For the first 2 to 3 hours, it's mostly the spicy element I get, but the sweetness comes through a little bit. But in the dry down, the spiciness almost kind of fades away, but you can still get it a little bit just because of that blend of pink pepper and saffron, and it's more of the vanilla and just the sweetness coming through. I don't get the patchouli, I don't get the musk, thankfully, because those are notes that I struggle with. I don't really like patchouli and musk, especially when they're very prominent in the fragrance. So I really love this because of the vanilla. Usually I layer this with vanilla 28 just for like an extra dose of vanilla, but most times it's not really necessary because this has a really strong vanilla note. It's very warm, like there's this warmth maybe from the amber, but it's a very warm fragrance. It's very syrupy, jammy. The rose is just very well done. Normally rose is a note that I don't really gravitate towards a lot, but the rose in this is just so well done. And then with the blend of the pink pepper, the saffron, the vanilla, it just makes it absolutely so beautiful. It's a very delicious fragrance to me. It smells really good. It almost smells like a gourmand, but not really. This fragrance takes me through a journey. Depending on the angle that the breeze blows from, I will get a different whiff of this perfume, and it's just so lovely because it just kind of takes me through a very unique experience with the fragrance. Sometimes I'll get the vanilla very strong, sometimes I get the rose very strong, sometimes I'll get the saffron, sometimes I'll get the pink pepper. Like it just comes in different waves. I would say this to me is not a linear scent, which means it's not a scent that remains the same from the beginning till the end. For example, vanilla 28 to me is quite a linear scent. It doesn't really change. It's vanilla, so that's what you're going to get throughout the life of that fragrance on you. That's what you're going to smell. But this evolves, it changes. I get different aspects. Don't get me wrong, it's very well blended, so it's not like I'm picking up each individual note. It's just nose is more heightened to some fragrances more than others, so I would always pick them out of fragrances usually quicker than the other notes. For example, vanilla, rose, saffron, those are notes that I'm very familiar with and I'm very hypersensitive to, so I would always be able to pick them out. This fragrance is a very bold scent. It's like I'm here, I'm making a statement. So if you're someone that doesn't really like attention, this is one to kind of steer clear from because it's quite loud because of the nature of its DNA. But this is an absolutely beautiful fragrance. I really love. This was a blind buy for me and it was a love at first sniff, but it kind of got demoted to a like, and I'm going to get to that in a second. So I sprayed this one day. I think I have the sample. I sprayed the sample one day and my dad walked into the room, like he came specifically into the room and he was like, did someone break a bottle of beer? I was like, beer from where? I'm like, no, nobody broke a bottle of beer. And then I realized, I'm like, oh my god, I just sprayed this fragrance, so that's probably what he was smelling. And then I gave him my wrist to smell and he's like, oh yeah, I think that's what I'm smelling. So I was like, oh my god, so this kind of smells like beer. So because of that, it kind of just made me take a step back from this fragrance and I wasn't spraying it as much. Before he made that comment, I was literally like spraying this every other day. But after he made that statement, I was like, oh, it kind of smells like beer, and it just made me very like conscious of the fragrance, and I put it down for a while. But now I'm back to spraying it. I'm literally always spraying it now because it's one of my most complimented fragrances in my collection, and I have quite a large fragrance collection. So for the longevity, this usually lasts me about 6 to 8 hours, and if I spray on clothes, it would usually last me the whole day. And this is one that I usually kind of overspray a little bit. And the reason why I overspray is not because it doesn't last, but because I think I've become anosmic to this fragrance, which in other words means I'm nose blind to it. So I would always get people compliment me even when I feel like I can't smell it anymore. So it's more or less like the people around me are able to get the full experience of the fragrance, and I'm not really able to. I spray this and 15 minutes later I'm like, where did it go? Like, I can't really smell it. But I could walk into a room 8 hours later without reapplying, and people would be like, oh my god, you smell so good, or what fragrance do you have on? That actually happened today because I oversprayed it when I was going out. When my friend got into the car, he was like, oh my god, you smell so good. And we were out for about 5 to 6 hours. My sister wasn't at home when I left, and when I just walked into the house, she's like, you smell really good. You have on the Kayali Sweet Diamond something, right? Because she doesn't know the full name. Because you guys, we have to admit the fact that the name of this fragrance is quite long. Sweet Diamond Pink Peppered, and there's now 25 at the end. And she's like, that's one fragrance that I would always recognize on you, because I think it's one of the first fragrances that she smelled on me. So the scent just kind of stuck, because if you know fragrances very well, they kind of attach themselves to memories. So this is just one that's she knows anytime I spray. And for the projection, say this projects really well in the first 3 to 4 hours, and then by the 5th hour it's kind of wearing closer to the skin. But also it depends on how you spray the fragrance, it depends on the particular places you spray it, and also if you go the extra mile and spray on clothes. If you do, then for like 5 to 6 hours, in fact 8 hours, people will still be able to smell you when you walk into a room. It would last you the whole day. You would project, everybody will be able to smell you, and you will also leave behind a very beautiful, intoxicating scent trail. So normally I do my pulse points here, my neck. I always avoid spraying in my inner arms. It doesn't matter how expensive, how inexpensive. I've had Tom Ford perfumes give me like a rash in here, like severe rashes. So it's not about the pricing of the perfume. It's just, I just noticed that it always happens here. So I always avoid spraying fragrances here. Behind my neck is kind of tricky, because there was this one time I developed like an intense rash on there, which brings me to the fact that I don't really like spraying fragrances directly on my skin. I would rather just spray on my clothes. But if at all I spray on skin, I just do here, and here, and then on my clothes, and sometimes in my hair. But I try to keep mostly the light vanilla scents in my hair. That way it would mix with every single fragrance that I spray, because hair holds on to fragrances like crazy, and I don't want to have to wear a fruity perfume and have a heavily rose scented perfume stuck in my hair, and then it's just giving confused vibes. Try to get matching creams or body oils in the scents that you love, especially versatile scents like vanilla, so it can go with everything and it's just going to help enhance your perfume. So yes, this is my other baby. You guys know that I couldn't do this video without showing you guys Vanilla 28, but this is my absolute favorite combination. I love to pair these two together. When I step out wearing these two, you can't talk to me. Like, it just hits different. Like, I walk different, I speak different. The aura that I emit is just effortless. Don't mess with me, I know what I want. Yeah, these two too good, because this vanilla enhances the vanilla even more in here. I also like to layer this with the Nest Madagascar vanilla oil. It's weird because this is a vanilla coconut oil, but oddly it goes very fantastic with this fragrance, and I don't know, it just creates a vibe of its own, which I'm here for, loving. The sillage on this is really good in my opinion. When I walk past people, when I leave a room, it lingers for a long time, because my sister is always like, whenever I spray this and I leave the house, like the sitting area is just always smelling of this fragrance almost throughout the whole day. She can still smell it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, so that means the sillage is quite good. Because there's times I'll pass by people and they'll be like, oh my god, you smell so nice. I think I've gotten 3 intense compliments on this fragrance. This fragrance is definitely a compliment getter. This is one that is guaranteed to secure you compliments left, right, and center. Although I feel like it's one that, especially in the hotter months, or if you live in a very, very hot climate, you should kind of be careful on overspraying this. I've seen people say that the Kayali one reminds them of this Shagaf Oud, which is also like a dupe for Lancome's Oud Bouquet, but I do not think so, because this is one, the Kayali I can overspray. This you definitely cannot overspray. More than 2 sprays of this and I'm literally choking myself out, not even talking about the people around me that I'm also going to be choking out. So this one is not really a love for me, but I don't think they're similar. The only similarity I see is the fact that they have a rose vanilla combination, so I could kind of see where the similarity that people point out comes in. But for one, the Shagaf Oud is really strong. It has a very prominent oud note, which is something that is usually a hit or miss for me, and the Kayali one doesn't have oud in it. Sometimes it does smell like it has oud, but it doesn't have any oud in it, and it's a lot more gentle when it comes to Shagaf Oud. But Shagaf Oud is one that it's just a very specific fragrance. It's like a very specific time and place. You have to be in a mood to be able to pull off this fragrance. This is definitely not a safe blind buy. It's a floral perfume. I don't even know how I blind bought this fragrance, because I'm not a floral scent kind of girly. My vibe is usually sweet, gourmand, fruity. That's my vibe. So this is a very good take on a floral perfume. It's one that I can stand. It's one that I love. I mean, imagine I blind bought a full 100 ml bottle and didn't love it. I mean, I could always resell it or just gift it to someone, but I'm really glad that I have this in my collection, and I'm really glad that I did take the step. But please don't be like me and don't blind buy this fragrance. Try to test it out first. It is not a safe blind buy. Also, bonus tip, I always make sure to say this in all of my videos: make sure to please store your perfumes properly. Store your perfumes in a cool, dry, dark place. Don't keep your perfumes in the sunlight. If you keep your perfumes in the sunlight or places where a lot of light is coming in through, they're going to go bad very quickly, because it's going to mess with the formulation of the fragrance. So yeah guys, those are my thoughts on this fragrance. I know I kind of explained this in a very confused way, but I explained this in the best way I know how. It's difficult for me to kind of give you a vivid description of what it smells like, but I tried my best to kind of explain to you guys what it smells like on me. Please do let me know in the comment section if you have Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper in your collection, if you love it, if you hate it, and also let me know if it's on your wish list. Also, I'd like to know the fragrances that you love to layer this with, if you do have it in your collection. So that brings us to the end of this video. It's currently 9 time here. I've had this makeup since like 8 a.m. in the morning. It's been well over 10 hours, and this is my last video of the day before I go to bed. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. See you in my next one. Okay, bye.